Thanks to Wondrium for sponsoring this video. Explore some of America's most unbelievable hiking trails in America's Great Trails, available on Wondrium.
Basically the home was weatherboard, there was no insulation, it was freezing cold. I would be cooking dinner in my Ugg boots, a puffer jacket, a beanie, and I feel a little bit guilty about it because now every morning I wake up, I'm not even like, oh, it's too cold, I don't want to get out of bed. Every morning I'm literally like, oh my God, this is amazing, I can't wait to start the day.
So the site is a 5 metre wide block at 36 metres long, faces north. The neighbouring buildings are all Victorian dwellings, they're single storey. The existing house was a Victorian weatherboard, single fronted, and with 2 bedrooms to it. Beyond that, there was a 70s extension which had a living room which was detached from the dining and kitchen at the back. The actual access that the Ben and Lauren had to the backyard was really narrow and just generally didn't really offer a very pleasant living environment. Ben and Lauren first came to me really wanting a 3rd bedroom and their own retreat, I suppose. And also in that brief was to replace all the living, kitchen, dining areas. They were also really mindful of keeping their rear garden as big as possible.
We never talked to Michael about the home being child friendly, but it's extremely child friendly. Like we didn't even have it in our brains at that point. When we moved in, Sophie was a baby and wasn't even moving around, but once she started moving around and reaching things, the cupboard drawers being soft closing and the cupboards, you can open them only from the top. So it just meant that she wasn't opening drawers and closing them on her fingers and things like that.
As you come in, there's 2 bedrooms that exist at the front which feel part of that Victorian house. There's also a stairway which has been hidden away between those 2 bedrooms. But beyond those front 2 bedrooms, then we step down to a concrete slab. We then pass by a laundry which runs down the corridor and which is hidden away. That hides a bathroom, and then you come out to this dining, living, kitchen space. Within this zone, it really worked with the geometries that we had to put the dining room where it currently sits against a big courtyard. A kitchen which runs sort of counter to that, and then the living out the back. Having the kitchen in the centre created somewhat of an interesting layout. It's not something that you commonly see. So things like splashbacks, range hoods, and the manner of how they go together were kind of creatively arranged. We actually designed the landscaping separately after Ben and Lauren had moved in. We've incorporated garden beds, veggie beds, an arbour frame where they can grow vines, and still allowed to bring car access from the laneway, but we've done that in a fairly nondescript way. But it was important, I think, that the general design of that kind of married in with the house, and being also a small scale backyard, having things like built-in benches really make the most of it. Heading upstairs, there's a master bedroom and a robe and an ensuite. The master bedroom has joinery that we found in construction that's low height near where the windows are, has corner glazing so that it seems a little bit more open than its size, and you can actually also open up the windows, fairly wide up there and get good breezes. The viewpoint over the rooftop was really quite considered as well, in that we wanted that roof to look as clean as possible, and it's already pre-set up as well for solar installation in the future. The materials that we've chosen, because they're quite a low budget selection and they were functional. So for a construction perspective, we needed a concrete slab out towards the back. That's been hydronically heated.
The concrete's really good because she can scoot around or ride her bike. So it's kind of good, and then it doesn't get damaged. And her being on the ground, it's nice and warm and really easy to clean up anything.
We've also used within the house fiberglass. That's used to bring in translucent light within the living space to help sort of bring a more dynamic quality to the light across winter and make it feel more open. We've also taken that same fiberglass cladding and used that externally. It's also maintenance free and low cost. The front of the house has your traditional Baltic pine floors. Internally, we've also opted for eucalyptus veneer timber joinery, which adds some warmth. And otherwise, within the kitchen, we have a quite bold blue laminate kitchen. The idea was always there for that to be quite a punchy colour. It's either going to be green or blue, and the clients went with blue. We've also tried to expose sort of structural elements where we can, because they're already in the house and they add a certain degree of visual richness. Just things like an exposed steel beam in the living room that would have otherwise been clad over, add a bit of detail. The value that I see in this sort of project is that it's fairly modest in terms of its selections and stuff, but it's put together really well. So it doesn't have, a whole bunch of bells and whistles. From a sustainability perspective, it's small and aims to keep other people's amenities, but it achieves a lot in quite a modest sense.
We love the compact size of it, but the feeling of it still being quite open. We're able to open up the double sliding doors and look out to the trees. You hear the birds and things like that, so it's quite serene. Michael talked us into doing floor to ceiling tiling, and I was like, why do you need to do that? It looks so good. I feel like I'm walking into a day spa when I go to the bathroom.
I think a home of this size, which is 139 square metres, it has quite a big impact in that it shows you that you can live really comfortably on a Victorian sort of block that's 5 metres wide. Living in the city, it's really necessary that we have denser housing so that we can all live proximity to shops and get around without cars. And this kind of house, I think, provides really comfortable living in the city and kind of everything you need. It's got a big back garden, it's got enough bedrooms, enough storage space.
Thanks again to Wondrium for sponsoring this video. Wondrium is the place to find the answers to questions you've wondered about. They have a curated collection of short and long form videos, courses, tutorials, how-tos, documentaries, and more, all of which are presented by engaging experts. You can explore our Milky Way galaxy, learn about Japan's cultural history, and understand how to decorate like a designer, all in one place. Wondrium has just released a new series, America's Great Trails, which is a feast for the mind, body, and spirit. Now, I used to do a little bit of hiking around Melbourne back in the day, so when I saw this, it really piqued my interest. The series takes an in-depth look at some of America's most beautiful trails, exploring must-see stops, as well as sharing the rich history and folklore of the areas. The locals and experts also share their knowledge, such as the dangers and pitfalls to watch out for on each trail. So if you want to leave your worries behind and get lost in the beauty of nature, then you need to sign up to Wondrium for a free trial. Visit wondrium.com/simpledwelling or click the link in the description to start your free trial today and see why Wondrium is all the rage.